I now present for our first speaker, Deacon Lucas Hawkins.
Shabbat Shalom, you may be seated. This morning I'd like to talk about Yahweh's plan and how we're all a part of Yahweh's plan and how it's prophesied from Genesis how He'd make us in His image. And throughout the years, mankind has been deceived by Satan and how they've been given, this technology has been held back and has been increased as it has been prophesied through Daniel 12:4. The technology would be increased in these last days. And it's been prophesied through the scriptures, it's completely undeniable, pastors prove this to us, that the nuclear war, the nuclear technology would get better and better all the way up till they would have nuclear war. I have a scripture here, Yeketskia, chapter 10. It's on page 632. If you could turn there, I'm going to read verse 10 through 12. It says, "The appearance of all four was the same likeness, like one wheel was beside the other wheel. When those went, these went all their four sides. They did not revolve as they moved. They all went in the direction in which the head faced without revolving as they moved. Their whole body, with their back, their hands, and their wings, and their wheels that the four had. They were full of eyes all around." As we all know, these are the satellites. This is just some of the technology that they've come up with for war and some peaceful purposes. They also help the peace solution today, to the telephones, the internet, and other various things. That's just a form of technology. Now we've seen and we've heard about these drones that have come out. This is another expensive thing that they've come up with, technology. They can send people in to kill people easier. I have an article here. It says, "Who makes them and who has them?" It's from www.rfurl.org. And it explains here, the United States has both the largest producer and the most frequent user of this aircraft. Of course, the United States is the chief of all nations. The U.S.-made Predator, which costs $4.5 million to $11 million per unit, or larger, more expensive, and the more advanced Reaper, which costs $30 million per unit, are the best known UAVs. And just for an example here, they're definitely not for peaceful purposes. I looked at the definition. Predator. It means an organism that lives by preying on other organisms. One that victimizes, plunders, or destroys, especially for one's own gain. And these are definitely not cheap. They're unmanned. They're small planes. They can vary from the size of a mosquito, as we've heard, to the size of, they're small planes. They have a wingspan of 6 feet, and they can fly for about 1,000 miles straight. The Predator can. It can hang around for over 14 hours to do whatever they want to do, either spying on someone, or as we've heard, they've killed a lot of people actually. And throughout the years, as they've gotten better, they've killed over 3,000 people. Al Qaeda, whatever they think that is a threat to our security. Here's a picture of the smallest one. You can see here, the size of a mosquito, basically. I guess you call it a bug, because that's what it is. It can be used for spying on people, unpeaceful purposes. Getting data or whatever else. It's a small camera, basically, with wings. And here is the Predator. This is probably the one that went in and killed that the U.S.-born Al Qaeda leader, killed him through his office. At this time, this is one of the ones that we've heard. As an example, it's here in Houston. It's going to be flying over the skies of Houston, and it's probably flying over the United States as we speak. So, it's just getting better and better. It's not for peaceful purposes. And I have something broke down here. The money they spend on, the U.S. government spends on war, they're just proving there's no such thing as peace through war. Some figures here. The larger, which is a little bit larger than the Predator, costs $30 million to build. Just one. That's not what it costs to get the program started or the technology to get it started. $30 million they spent. And the Building More Excellence book costs $13, the teacher's manual. And with that, you can buy 2.3 million books. That's 2.3 million people we could educate. And if you want to spread out more, that's 2.3 million families we could educate in the peaceful solution here in this world today. They give those resources, they get these resources from Yahweh, and they turn into warlike technology. And here's a calculation here. They have over 7,000 drones in the fleet as we speak. And they've spent probably $15 million altogether. They spend in each drone on an average, which adds to 8.1 billion books we could spend. The whole world could learn the peaceful solution for just this one program that they've spent through these drones. And of course, they're not going to stop there. They asked for more money. In this past 2012 economy, they've asked for $5 billion more to start this, which peaks that number to 8.5 billion books. That many more people could learn this peace solution if they weren't trying to teach war. So, for my finishing up scripture, I would like to turn to Isaiah 2 through 4. Verse 2, it reads, "It will come to pass in these last days that the mountain promotion of the house of Yahweh will be established in the chief of the nations, and will be raised above all congregations, and they will eventually flow to it." Going down to verse 4 here, it says, "He will judge among the nations, and will rebuke many people, and they will beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. A nation will not lift up sword against nation, neither will they learn war anymore." So I encourage everyone to keep learning this peace solution. These 2 billion people, they're waiting for us, brothers and sisters, to learn this peace solution and to bring it to these dying nations. And with this, I'll turn it over to Deacon Timothy for prayer.